Today is December 8th, 2011. Today is a very special day in the hearts of all of the students because it is the last day that we'll be taking notes over new content for this first semester. Speaking of notes, so we just reviewed yesterday some of the things, the policies of Kosovo, what was happening in 1999, the fact that there were NATO strikes to prevent the continued fighting between the Albanians, ethnic Albanians, Muslim groups in Kosovo versus the Serbian Christian groups also fighting in Kosovo, kind of wedged between these two countries. This was where the country stood in terms of support. Did they support the strike? If they supported the strike, they're indicated here in blue. If they did not support the strike, then they were in yellow. The consequences for Slobodan Milosevic, the leader of Yugoslavia, president of Yugoslavia 1989 to 2000, was that he did resign. So obviously the United States is not the only country that struggles with 2000 elections for presidency. He also was tried for crimes against humanity, a nice way of saying really genocide, after resigning, but he was never found guilty. He wasn't found guilty because he died before any kind of a result was actually decided by that court. So he was not found guilty. Maybe he would have been found guilty, who knows, but he was not punished anyway for anything like that. Serbia also was not found guilty of any genocide. It was just simply a war. Ethnic conflicts happened, and so there was no blame to be placed on Serbia as well. Today, Slobodan Milosevic still is one of the most beloved leaders of the region by Serbs, but the rest of the world not so big of fans of Slobodan Milosevic. Time, as they do the magazine, Time magazine has all kinds of, the best this or the worst that, and they had a series of the worst dictators of the world, and Milosevic certainly made that list. Other things, the main religions, Islam, Orthodox Christian, and Roman Catholic for the Balkans. In Slovenia, multiple choice questions, Slovenia is the most stable government of the former Yugoslavian countries. Then we talked about Poland, skipped to these are the countries that had taken over Poland at some point throughout its history. Warsaw, the capital of the Kingdom of Poland, also the capital of Poland as a country. It's a large city, and it's also made famous for the ghettos that housed Jews during the Holocaust. Poland, at least in some areas, is concerned with what is happening in terms of unemployment rate, poverty levels, and things like this. So as a result, there are a growing number of Poles that actually want to return to communist rule. And so there are communist parties like there were before, but in this regard, they're actually democratically elected communists. And that number, again, is growing in Poland. Also in Poland, Poland was the largest of the Soviet bloc nations, which is right here. The three countries that are Baltic countries are Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania. If you see where they're located, Russia obviously being right here, this was part of that Soviet bloc as well that continued down here to Poland, and then what will be even south of this, Yugoslavia. Baltics, don't confuse them. Baltics would be in the northern part because of the Baltic Sea. The Balkans, former Yugoslavia, more toward the south. So just like in Poland, they had communism, and once the Soviet Union falls apart and the stranglehold really on these countries goes away, they decide that they want to move away from communism. They develop market economies, and again, for the same reasons, the frustration with a high unemployment rate, high poverty rates, and so forth. There are more of the people in these Baltic countries that want to return to a system of communism. And the Baltic issues and challenges, they're trying to get out of the economic ruin that was really caused by the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union really exploited these countries, as they did with all of the Soviet bloc countries, the satellites. They exploited them for economic benefit for specifically the Soviet Union. So these Baltic countries would produce things, mostly heavy machinery, and then those heavy machines would be sent to the Soviet Union. because they are producing things, heavy machinery and whatnot, this obviously led to a great deal of pollution. Pollution is one of those things that obviously, I'm not trying to be a tree hugger here, but the effects of pollution are long term. And so they're still also dealing with the pollution left over by the policies of the Soviet Union. And number three, limited natural resources. Now, that doesn't have anything to do with the Soviet Union at all, certainly not their fault, but there are a limited number of natural resources. And since there are not natural resources, these Baltic countries have to import the things that they need. So those are the issues and challenges. Those are the notes, the last notes that you'll have to take to endure for the first semester of the 2011-2012 school year. Thank you for those of you that have been paying attention to all the YouTube stuff. We'll see if we're going to continue this next semester and kind of ask for some feedback over the next week. If you missed today, you missed a lot.